another awesome day of FileMaker training. Mark, let's go to questions and answers. We're going to kick these to Mark. You're going to ask the question, and then me and Jacob are going to like flip a coin to see who answers it. All right. Next thing for the community here, we got a whole bunch of people here. Lots of good questions. It's Friday. Things are a bit spicy. Production experience with FileMaker Server 2203, 2204. 2204 is the one in market right now. 2205 is next week. Been using FileMaker Server 21.5 since the for a client, and they keep getting random little issues. Files in use, scripts hanging overnight, random slowdowns. I'm hesitating, thinking to push into 22. I'm wondering if people can consider a production ready. So this comes up a lot of times. I'm going to let Jacob answer it, but let me just frame the conversation. The person is asking, when you deal with software and people are really relying upon it in a production environment, the operating systems, the apps that you use, the hardware you use, you want to make sure that your mix of stuff that you're using constitutes a stable spot, like walking across a creek and the river's running and you're wearing a backpack and you're middle of nowhere and it's skunks and mosquitoes and you step on stone, and some of the stones rock and you might fall in the water, and you'll see the flat stone, and if you don't slip on it, it's like super stable. And so he's asking, is this 2204 represent a super stable spot in the world of FileMaker? That's the question. Super great question. I give it to the server guy.
Short versions, yeah. We haven't had issues with it, honestly.
With what, 2204?
With 2204, yeah. I do. Literally, the only thing I'm tracking with 22 at this point, other than, and I have to be clear for the audience, Tahoe issues, but those are mostly pro, just for clarity. But yeah, basically there's one like crasher issue I'm tracking with 22, and it affects a single client, so I'm not going to bore the rest of you with it, because it, again, doesn't affect anybody else. It's one client with one problem. It basically just works. The things actually, for a more complete answer for this person, other than, yeah, go on 22, update, go for it. Things I would actually ask about is because they're describing some behavior that are smoke, but not necessarily fire about the solution. There's more that could be done here other than updating the server, basically. I would actually do hardware checks on this because random slowdowns and script hangs are both evidence of either hardware problems or minor, usually minor, not major, but minor damage to the database somehow, corruption if you want to call it that. And so things things like checking the hardware. This is like hard drives, checking the smart data. Is your Mac older than Richard or whatever? Get a new one.
Yeah.
Yep. Correct. Appropriate. Thank you.
Well, make sure that if you have stuff that runs in the middle of the night and you have supposed to have a FileMaker server that's, I'm going to use the words, here we go, dedicated. And it's not also a file server and a print server with balloons and whatever server, AI LLM server,
and an AI LLM server also.
Yeah. And so, and if those things are installed and they maybe work during the day, but at night there's a backup that runs someone else's backup on the AI LLM server that's on your FileMaker server, and then right. So, yeah.
So that's that. The other thing, just to shove it in there, if you have, again, this is a smoke, not fire. One palliative you might also do is a recovery of the database. It's one of those, like, it's a school, you only do maintenance once a year. It is not the worst plan, and I'm gonna say it's rare if I've heard a database like this where they maintain the database itself, as in doing any kind of a regular recover or anything like they're not going to do any of that stuff. And so whatever this file is whatever they've kept using over the years. Fine, it's FileMaker, it'll do that. But it would be, I would just say, as a generality for the audience looking at something like this, you might also recover the file, just for giggles, if nothing else. It may help.
All right, guys. Well, that's it. Have a good weekend. I've got to go do deputy sheriff stuff. So
all right, everybody, have a good one.
Have a good one. Thanks.
Bye.